I have had several people ask me about the classes that I am going to conduct on May 14th and May 15th. It is a virtual class. It's 2 days from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I wanted to show a little bit of what the class will entail so that you can understand what you or someone that you put into the class, what they will get out of it. So this is my introductory slide about the emotionally effective leader. The goals for this class is to understand more about their personal view on leadership and how emotional intelligence plays into leadership and to understand the different components. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, it says workbook 2. So that means that it's on page 2 of the participants' workbook. So they all have a workbook that goes along with the class, very interactive. This is the next slide. Knowing yourself is the first step towards building a dream and achieving your goals. Leadership and emotional intelligence. First thing we talk about is what kind of leader do you want to be? So as you can see here, you'll be placed in a breakout room, and everyone in the room should take turns being a speaker and a listener. So we have quite a few of these breakout rooms. This is very important because it's 4 hours one day, 4 hours another day, of course, breaks in between, but it's not just listening to the instructor, which is me, but it's also interacting with people in the class in breakout rooms and doing different scenarios also. So this tells you about that activity in the breakout room. And then they're going to write on the whiteboard in Zoom down the characteristics from the stories. And then we talk about common characteristics of a good leader. So first we'll go through the things that were written down. And then I think that probably a lot of these are going to be on that list. So we'll talk about that as well. And then why is emotional intelligence important? So the first day we are setting up for why is emotional intelligence important? What does it look like in a leader? We talk about bad bosses, you've had good bosses, you've had even teammates, good ones and bad ones that you've had in different jobs, and how does that fit into the emotional intelligence? So the first day is an explanation of what emotional intelligence is and why it's important. Now, the end of the first day, we actually give the participants their report, their emotional intelligence report, after we've led up to it, and then they have time to digest that. The second day goes into more detail about emotional intelligence and what they're going to see on their report. So these are just some of the slides. Talk about what is emotional intelligence. Again, you see that workbook 11, mean that's on page 11. This is the emotional intelligence model that I use. It's called EQI 2.0. And you'll see that each title is in the outer circle, and then each item is in the inner circle. It's called a subscale. So self-perception is the title, and that includes self-regard, self-actualization, emotional self-awareness. So you'll see on the next couple slides how this plays into that. So the first thing we do is talk about each of the different titles and their subsets. So we talk first about self-perception and all the different components there. We talk about how it relates to them. Self-expression, what it is, how it relates to them, which one will be the strongest for you. Now, remember, no one has seen their actual report at this point. And then you're going to do a little activity matching the subscale. Where does it go? And here are the different answers to that. And they'll see that in their workbook. Again, more self-study and activity to be done in the class. I always like classes that have a lot of activity. I can't sit for that many hours and listen to somebody, so I am better with classes that have a lot of activity that I have to kind of think about the subject, that type of thing. So that's one of the reasons I liked this model in this class. So now I'm going to step you through an example of a leadership report. Now you won't be able to see it, it might be not as clear, maybe, but you'll be able to get the gist of it. So you're going to take an assessment. There's 133 items, and it measures where you are. And this is based on being a leader. So it's not really just for someone who's not trying to either in a leadership role or trying to be a leader. This is more geared toward leaders or emerging leaders when we talk about the assessment. So the first thing you get is a summary page. And you can see on here you have highest three subscales and lowest three subscales. And so for this person, this is just an example person. Their highest is problem solving, emotional expression, and assertiveness. Their lowest is empathy, optimism, and interpersonal relationships. This yellow bar here is the composite of other leaders that have taken this and where they fall in that scale. Over on the right of each, it talks about that subset. And again, that's in their workbooks. Now remember, no one's gotten their assessment yet. This report is an overview, and it tells you each of the titles here that we saw, and then each where they score on each of the subsets. So the first page told you about your highest and your lowest. This one tells you in general the whole overview. Then you have a page, which this is an interesting page. It's a leadership potential page. These categories, authenticity, coaching, insight, and innovation, are static. The scores are based on the individual score of each person. So they've said, okay, here's the title. These are the different subsets of that should go under coaching. You should be high in self-actualization, empathy, reality testing, interpersonal, assertiveness, and emotional awareness. Whereas innovation has different subsets. Down at the bottom, we have a area that is for derailers. So again, these are constant impulse control, stress tolerance, problem solving, and independence. It tells the score here. This will tell you if you're at low risk of derailment, medium risk, or high risk based on what your scores are here. Then you get into each of the titles or each of the subsets and what that score means, what your score means on this. So it's based on your score, not just the standard. And again, it measures it to the leadership here. And it tells you the leadership impact and the strategies for action, and then how to balance this. I use this leadership impact and strategies for action for my coaching clients all the time. It's very good because you can read this leadership impact, and most of the time people will say, "Yeah, that is the problem that I'm having with my team." Is it's right there in black and white. I think seeing it on a report is very powerful. Then you have a page for each one of those. I'm not going to go through each one. Then you have a page for well-being indicator, and this is really important for a leader. So you would see, where does your happiness rate? Again, these self-regard, optimism, interpersonal relationships, self-actualization, and you could see where that indicator is at the top. And then, so once We've gone through this, and there's more slides. I've taken slides out to not bore you. But once we've gone through this, at the end of that first day, we give the participants their actual report. And then they have 25 minutes to sit and absorb that report and to try to understand, based on what we've just talked about, where they are on their leadership journey. So that is at the end of the day, and we talk about, comments and thoughts and what do they think. No one has to say what their scores are ever. Some people do. They don't need to, but they could talk about what does that look like. And then the next day, we build on that and say, okay, let's find the balance for that. Let's integrate these concepts together and figure out which places are not in alignment. Again, we start out the next day with breakout rooms, and we talk about what that looked like on a from that report. Then we start talking about transformational leadership, and we have some breakouts there. So I'm going to stop this now because I think you probably get the gist of what it looks like. It's not just listening to the instructor, that type of thing, and maybe raising your hand occasionally. It's very interactive. And we only have 10 people in the class. So that makes it easier for everyone to share. So I hope this has helped you to understand what the class is and why you or someone from your team should participate in this class. So you have the link there also in the email, and just sign up for it, and it really will make a big difference in your team. Thanks a lot, and we hope to see you in class.